as they sink their teeth into the finest grilling, smoking, and barbecue from coast to coast with the industry's leading pitmasters. Stay tuned for great tips, techniques, and products that will enhance your backyard experience by being a part of the Barbecue Radio Network.
Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Barbecue Radio Network, where we up your barbecue game with tips and tricks from all the leaders and legends of the barbecue world. I'm your host, Andy Groneman, along with executive producer T-Bone. And T-Bone gets to wear the co-host hat again this week. It's hard enough to get him to push all the buttons on the board and run the big clock for me in the room, but it's even more fun to watch him kick off his shoes and do segment math when he's trying to wear two hats. So we're going to go ahead and... Q.com.
What am I holding in my hand, Andy?
Why, you are holding a barbecue Bible.
A new barbecue Bible that has been autographed by Steven Raichlen.
You don't say.
I do say. It is the 25th anniversary, and it is time to refresh yourselves with this great piece of... This is the best-selling barbecue book in the world.
Millions upon millions of copies in print.
Not to mention
25 years worth of copies in print.
The Barbecue Radio Network t-shirts. Where can you get them?
Why, they get them from you, T-Bone, when they submit a question for Ask Andy.
Exactly. That's the only way you're going to get your hands on one of these beauties.
Oh, I'll sell you one. I'll sell you the one off my back if you run into me and say, man, that's a Barbecue Radio Network t-shirt. I'll swap shirts with you.
Actually, I'm going to do a new design. I don't see anybody wearing the other ones. I think they're a little embarrassed.
Why would they be embarrassed?
Because there's a big pig and a big cow on their chest.
Well, I mean...
Talking on microphones.
Yeah, there is that. But you know what?
Just like in this studio.
Exactly. I was going to say, I've had more conversations start off my logo on my vest than you'd be shocked by how many conversations that get started by that. Well,
please send us questions for Andy. Even if you think you can stump him.
You said you've got an email address now, too, so you don't just have to go to Facebook. You can submit an email.
Just send an email to Ask Andy at bbqradionetwork.com.
There you go.
And
so you got a question for me.
Actually, I was going to say that's what Richard Johnson from Gresham, Oregon did.
Well, what did Richard have to say, T-Bone?
Well, he said, Andy, he's coming to you. I understand and practice the zone method of grilling. Bravo, Richard. But flare-ups do happen. Yes, they do. I move my meat to a cooler zone, but the flare-up is still going at it. What am I supposed to do with that? Water it down? Just wait? Maybe some kerosene? I'm sorry, that last part was me.
Yeah, we're going to avoid the whole kerosene discussion. And since I'm not sure what kind of grill he is using, I'm going to give a couple of options there, and we'll kind of see where this goes. But if he's using a charcoal grill, obviously those flare-ups occur the longer that lid is open and the more air is getting to the charcoal. Even if you're zone cooking, where you have a hotter zone where you've got the coals closer to the grates and a cooler zone, both zones will be increasing in heat as long as they are getting air. So I typically try and get into the grill and do what I need to do and then put the lid back on. And that's going to help control those flare-ups from happening. Even if the juices are dripping and that fat's dripping onto the coals, without the air there to really allow that to ignite and get crazy, you won't have to worry about it. If it is a gas grill, you're obviously going to have those flare-ups because the gas flames are lipping around. So you're just going to have to turn that thing down as much as you can. Sometimes those grills will be hot enough that you can actually shut off a burner, and if it's a 3-burner or a 4-burner, and have one burner that has no fire under it, the chamber is still hot and cooking the meat, but then you won't have that radiant heat and flame underneath that can catch fire. And so I'll typically, on my gas grill, if I'm using that, leave one burner off and just have some foil underneath it, because obviously if it's off, any grease that hits it would stay. It's going to become a fire hazard the next time you light it up. So I usually just throw a little piece of foil over that burner that's off, and just let it catch grease, and I'll run the meat over to that side when I don't need it to burn, but my chamber's nice and hot. So then the other option would be if you have a charcoal grill that you can raise and lower your coal bed, you could actually lower the coal bed even further and then shut those doors to ensure you're not getting any air to it. I like to cook on a Hasty Bake. That's my favorite charcoal grill. I think I've said that before.
Yes, you have.
And Hasty Bakes have an interesting feature on them where the grate actually has a cant to it. It's V-shaped, and the
Right.
grate runs to the middle. And what that does is it allows all of your juices to run down the grate to the center, and then they drop onto a drip rail and roll out of the pit. So you actually don't get flare-ups typically in a Hasty Bake because all of the grease runs away from the fire into a drip rail. So even if you don't have a Hasty Bake, you could actually take and put even a couple of quarters underneath the edge of your grates or a little rock or something to get them to cant one direction or the other, and you can push that grease away from the fire. I've even seen people take and drill a hole through the side there where that grate is going to be and put a little piece of angle there to catch grease and expel it from the pit. It's not exactly the way a regular charcoal grill was designed to work, but you could set it up that way if you wanted to. If you do like a lot of chicken or other products that need that grease removed.
Right. So basically it comes down to this. If you're doing it on charcoal, you have to deal with the oxygen source.
Yes.
So that it can't burn without oxygen. That's a required element.
You got it.
And if you are on a gas grill, then remove the heat source
Correct.
by turning down your burner or possibly even off for a moment.
And I guess we didn't hit on pellet.
And do not hit it with water.
Do not hit it with water. Absolutely
Whatever
not.
it's coming out of it. It might just be a mister, but you're a mister. But, you're going to stir up all kinds of ugly stuff, and it's going to get on your meat.
Yeah, you got two issues there. If there's a lot of fat flying around, you could risk getting that fat splattering everywhere and creating a bigger fire. And then if you have a fire and you're trying to mist it out, you're going to get that ash from the coals all over your food as it vaporizes the mist
Right.
that you're throwing.
Right.
So, yeah, good point there. I know he mentioned should I put water on it, and I didn't touch on that. So thank you for bringing that up, T-Bone. And then, of course, with a pellet cooker, you're going to want to unplug it because you're forcing air. You've got a fan running, so you're going to want to unplug it. I know that's
Stop for a minute.
sounds obvious, but you definitely want to do that. So next segment. So first, Richard, thank you for the question. We are going to get a T-shirt and a signed copy of the Barbecue Bible headed your way to Gresham, Oregon. Next segment, we are going to be talking with Joey Machado, instructor, competitor, and founder of Texas Original Charcoal Company. We're going to be talking live fire cooking and the right fuels to do it. Check out his website, TexasOriginalCharcoal.com. That's TexasOriginalCharcoal.com. Coming up, it's Joey Machado right here on Barbecue Radio Network.
Holstein Manufacturing. You have a better recipe for when you grill. Better ingredients, better cuts of meat, and because you're using a grill from Holstein Manufacturing, well, a better grill. You take grilling seriously, and at Holstein Manufacturing, we make a serious grill. Find your new grill now at HolsteinMFG.com. We build a grill. Holstein Manufacturing. Holstein Manufacturing. We build the grill.
Remember the time you almost volunteered to work in a soup kitchen? Or when you almost visited the Veterans Hospital? Or when you almost brought dinner to your neighbor with AIDS? Remember all the times you almost helped, almost gave? Well, it's only human, this almost giving. But the truth is, it's the same as not giving at all. Don't almost give. Give. Visit our website at don'talmostgive.org. A message from the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
MyTown Media is dedicated to helping small businesses reach large audiences through broadcast and digital marketing. Here at MyTown Media, we believe that there's always opportunity for growth, and you have every right to take advantage of it. We will work with you to make sure we generate attention and turn it into revenue. Let us teach you what you can improve on to create more business and more money. Visit mytown-media.com to claim your free marketing action plan. That's right, I said free. Once again, that's mytown-media.com to claim your free marketing action plan.
John Deere compact utility tractors are great for landscaping, maintaining your property, and other outdoor projects. And with a pallet fork attachment, those tasks are easier and more efficient. Right now at Prairie Land Partners, receive a free pallet fork with the purchase of a new 1 through 5 series compact utility tractor. Lift and move bags of feed, seed, hay, large rocks, and more with the ease of a John Deere compact utility tractor. Stop by or visit prairielandpartners.com.
Prairie Land Partners.
Here's a look at your forecast. Chance for scattered storms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Daytime highs approaching 81. Winds out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows around 62. Cloudy skies expected. Overcast. Tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms likely. Daytime highs approaching 69. High of 73 Tuesday. Under cloudy skies. 80 Wednesday. From the MyTown Media Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Laura Lockwood. Right now, 73.
The Flint Hills best country can be heard right here. My Country 99.5.
Radio Network. I'm Andy Groneman, along with our executive producer and co-host T-Bone. I am really excited for our guest this week. He's got over 20 years in the live fire cooking world. You'll find him traveling and teaching cooking and collaborating with some of the best pitmasters and grillers in the U.S. Joey Machado, the founder of Texas Original Charcoal Company, which you can find at www.texasoriginalcharcoal.com. I'm excited to get into a deep dive with all of the fuels and what fuels our grill. So welcome to the show, Joey. How you been?
Man, we are doing wonderful. Just running like crazy, but we're having a great time.
As we do. I mean, you're out at Brisket King right now, I think. So in the kitchen.
Yes, sir. Just rolled into New York City this afternoon, and we are in the kitchen at Pig Beach right now doing all our prep for our stuff.
Yeah, that is going to be great. Well, so speaking of prep, Texas Original Charcoal, let's just talk a little bit about, kind of how you got to where you are with Texas Original Charcoal. And let's talk a little bit about the different kinds and what makes good charcoal good.
For some of you who know and some of you who don't know, is I've been in the industry for quite a long time, been responsible for some great brands. We've worked to build some great brands in the past. As a competition cook for a long time, I kind of knew what I wanted. And one of the things that I found early on was there was a little company in Texas that was called B&B Charcoal. And they happened to be someone who was very, very close to me as far as they were literally 40 minutes from my house. And it was a small brand at the time. No one really knew about them, but they were just an all-natural lump charcoal product. But they also had, some briquettes, and, they weren't that easy to find. But it was a product that really worked for me. And I strived very hard to, get the attention of the company and, eventually started doing, unpaid branding for them, like an ambassador, which kind of evolved into a marketing gig with them, which then evolved into, developing products, expanding market. And then all of a sudden, before you knew it, the company got big enough and, beautiful enough that they started catching the eye of some of these big guys. And, eventually the company sold out. And you know what happens when bigger companies sell out? It's all about margin, and it's not about the quality of product.
Yeah, the goals
anymore.
change.
Exactly, and I can't blame them for that. It's, one of the things that I tell a lot of people who are in the industry or getting into the industry or, have a new product and are trying product. The first question is always, what's your scenario, right? Is it margin? Is it quality of product? Is it, what's your goal at the end of the day? And so for most of the customers who come to us is they want margin. And they don't really care what goes in that bag. They want whatever will get them to this certain price point that they have to meet for Walmart or for Academy or, whatever the case may be. So that's the deal. Customers always have a choice of what to put in their cart, right? There's a difference between a Hyundai and there's a difference between a Honda. And so we always give people the opportunity of picking and choosing what they want. If they want a more inexpensive product, that means less hands touch it. That means less people are watching that line when it runs. That means it's just going straight from the bag, from it coming from the field straight into a bag with little to no supervision, which could lead you to a product that you would find other things in there besides charcoal. But for me, my biggest thing is I really didn't care about the quantity aspect of it. I have the ability to do as much as I want, but I wanted to make sure the quality was always number one. So I actually pay more to put the product that I put in my bags in there.
So we are talking with Joey Machado, and we will be coming right back to talk more about charcoal and the difference in the quality in the bag right here on Barbecue Radio Network.
When it comes to barbecue, every pitmaster should start with the best beef and pork possible. That's why the top-rated barbecue restaurants from Texas to North Carolina choose Creekstone Farms premium Black Angus beef and all-natural Duroc Heritage pork. Go to shop.creekstonefarms.com and get the same briskets, burgers, ribs, and steaks served around the country, delivered right to your door. Use promo code RADIO and get 10% off your entire order.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
It's My Country 99.5, and we're glad you're listening in Lebo. You change the station. My Country, a better brand of country. KHDL, America's Emporia. My Country 99.5, your home for Red Dirt.
Radio Network with my co-host and executive producer extraordinaire, T-Bone, and I'm Andy Groneman. We are back talking with Joey Machado. He is a competitive cook, instructor, product guru. He's the founder of Texas Original Charcoal Company. Welcome back, Joey.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
So we were talking about the quality of charcoal that goes into the bag and what to look for. But, there's different kinds of charcoal out there. There's lump, there's briquette, there's extruded. all of them have their own place and how you want to use them in your grill or your cooker. For me, like I always go to a lump for a good high heat cook where I really need to be able to control that temperature. Historically, I was a briquette guy for longer cooks, but I'm really been excited about the extruded product. So give me your take on kind of the types of charcoal that you guys produce and where they play best.
Sure. And right now, there's basically not a charcoal that we don't produce. We just don't have it in the line yet. So on the private label side, we pretty much produce everything that you can imagine. So I have a secondary line, which is targeted towards specialty meat markets and that type of deal. So we have a product line which is called a Chaparral product, and for a lot of people don't understand what the name is, but in Mexico, Chaparral, it just means a little oak shrub. And there's a lot of people who call their ranches and Chaparral and, all this type of stuff. And one of my partners that I had at the time was adamant that we wanted to use that name for one of our lines. So we put it out there. And in that line, I actually have an extruded product. And the extruded that we offer right now is an all oak extruded product. For a lot of people who don't know, an extruded product is just a charcoal tube. Some of them have holes in the middle. Some of them are square. Some of them are round. Some of them are, there's various different molds you can make them in. But honestly, when I was with B&B, we actually had discovered that the extruded tube, because again, a lot of that charcoal was manufactured down in Mexico, and the extruded tubes have existed down there for 20 years, and most of it's all mesquite, and they've used it for a very long time down there. So to be able to convert over to an oak product is super simple. But people understand oak in our area, right? There's a lot of people who have stigmas on mesquite products, period. Down here in Texas, we love mesquite. That's our number one thing that we go to half the time. But anywhere outside of that market, people don't understand it. But a charcoal tube, this extruded tube, actually will, what I call, draw on itself. So it creates its own, it's almost like a vortex, almost, if you would think about it. It draws cold air through the hole, superheats it, and it expels it on the other side. So these things don't require a lot of airflow in your machine. So you can put them in in any type of cooker, choke down pretty good, and these things will hold temp and burn for an extremely long time. They're just a super compressed briquette with a hole in it.
And they burn super efficient too.
100%. And what we found was, at the time that we had kind of launched them back in the day, was they worked extremely well in stick burners. So at that time, everybody had a Jambo or some type of offset smoker. And so instead of throwing a stick on every 30 minutes, you put 3 or 4 of these extruded tubes in, and it would buy you another 30 to 40 minutes between having to reload on stick burners, which a lot of comm guys understand. Getting an extra 30-minute break between somewhere is invaluable. Now we've changed, right? Now we got drum smokers. People load them one time, they go to bed, and they just show up in the morning and everything's done. But that's really what the key thing is for those extruded tubes. I worked with Old Hickory at one time with Alex Knight, and we kind of worked on a charcoal tube to work in a Old Hickory CTO.
Yeah, I was going to say the CTOs are a great place for those.
And so they have a unit that's called the MM. I've got one. And we had it designed where in one charcoal basket, we could load this thing with logs and get a 10-hour burn out of one basket. And this was no gas assist, just 100% hard fuel. And it works. The only problem with your tube is it's like Tim Shear would say, zero flavor. They burn so clean and efficient that it's just heat. But it's the great thing is you can add a wood chip or chunks or pellets or whatever you want to put on there to impart a little bit of smoke in there. but don't expect a lot of flavor out of those tubes. It's just not there. But really and truly, that's kind of the biggest thing about the tubes, and I think the right placement for those.
Yeah, and they hold temperature so evenly with low airflow, and in those offsets, you're drawing air anyway. Your stack is pulling. You're creating that pull, so it lets you not get a sooty, bitter smoke on your meat over that longer cook. So it's really a great product if you're trying